Let's take a look inside a DDoS as a service offering. And here's the one I want to show you. Let's load the website and just watch and listen for a bit. That is a very impressive looking website. This is a very polished service. This is not some sort of hidden underground DDoS dark web lair. This is out there in the clear web, available to anyone. And it's all very, very easily accessible as well. I've created an account to show you what's behind this sort of service. So let's now log in and have a look at how it works. So I've got an account here that I created explicitly for this purpose. Let me just drop in the username and also the password, and now let's log in. So here we are. We now have a nice dashboard. It's a very modern looking site, just like so many other dashboards we see on very legitimate applications. We can see some stats available here, how many users there are of the system. So we're going on 63,000 people registered now with this particular service. And we're also looking at allegedly over 1.2 million attacks. If we scroll down a little bit, we can see the attacks that have been issued today. We can see some of the servers that have been issuing the attacks. Mostly layer 4, just one layer 7 attack there as well. And a further summary as we go down. So we can see some pretty familiar attack patterns there. NTP, DNS, SNMP, all of these are things that we've looked at earlier on in this course. It's just that here, they're all bundled up into a service. Let's scroll back up and go and take a look at the purchase page. Now, when we have a look at the page here, we can see some tutorials. There's some video samples of just how these work. And then as we scroll down a little bit, we can see some of the different services we can buy. So for example, they're claiming to have 250 gigabits worth of capacity, and you can tap into at least 5 gigabits per second for a maximum attack time of 1800 seconds. Or in other words, about half an hour. That'll cost you just under $20 a month. All the purchasing is done using Bitcoin cryptocurrency. And if you're not familiar with how to use Bitcoin, you can scroll down a little bit further and get a tutorial on how to turn your normal money into cryptocurrency suitable for purchasing DDoS services. The other thing these guys offer is they actually have a ticketing system. So this is very much like other online services where if you have a question, you can simply jump over and create a new ticket. All of these concepts will be familiar to you. And that's really the point I'm trying to make. This is such a mainstream, normal service. And if their claims are to be believed, they're enormously effective at launching large distributed denial of service attacks against whatever target the person procuring this service would like. Per the earlier news article we were looking at just before, the one which showed it was only about $60 to start mounting pretty large-scale attacks, you can see here both how easy and how cheap it is to procure these services which can then start to do enormous damage. And this again is the real problem. DDoS services, like the one here, offer the attacker enormous leverage. Those small dollar amounts can turn into substantially higher costs for the target website. And not only that, but when they come to a website like this, and they take care to obfuscate their identity, and then they pay for the service with cryptocurrency, it becomes extremely difficult for either the victim or law enforcement to track down the original perpetrator. There are multiple layers of abstraction between the person wanting to do harm to the organization and the traffic which ultimately hits their infrastructure. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of just how serious these services are. I do now want to clarify one thing though. I want to go on and take a very brief look at a legitimate load testing service just to make it crystal clear how that differs from the booters and stressors we've been looking at so far.